Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring my weekly review of Black Sails on Starz. This week we seen season 4, episode 6, and it was kind of a doozy, guys. I know this video is late. I'm hardly ever right on time, but life, yeah. But anyway, I know I reviewed The Walking Dead first this week, and it was actually a pretty good episode. But Black Sails surprised and impressed me again, and this was probably one of the best episodes of the season so far, if not the best. I could see someone liking this one the most of what we've gotten so far. And I feel like this is still, even everything that happened in this episode, that major character death, I feel like this is just a taste of things to come. And I am loving this season. Season 1, it had its slow moments, but I still really liked it. Season 2, I think, was more evenly paced. Season 3 was the best so far, but I don't know. Season 4 might top it. We'll see how it all wraps up. Excuse me. But a lot of people are really happy with the show, and it deserves more recognition. It's just so well done when it comes to the sets, the environment, the way it looks, the acting, the writing. Black Sails, man. I mean, I just remember reading a random comment on Facebook saying how every episode this season has been like a masterpiece of storytelling, and I can't really disagree with that. This is just a really well knit together final couple seasons. At times it does still feel a little bit slow, but it's really cleverly done. It doesn't feel like we're wasting time. It always feels like we're spending time in a place we should be in some form or fashion. And it's really stitched together wonderfully. And this episode really brought it. We had a major character death. Spoilers in the title of this video, so don't blame me. Eleanor actually dies in this episode. Which I was pretty surprised by. If you guys have been watching my Black Sails videos, I've been waiting for Eleanor and/or Max to die for a while. But I'll admit, I wasn't as happy as I thought it would be when she did die, when she made her last stand. I actually respected how she went out, which was kind of surprising. But we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. We also lost Maddi, but we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. The main thing in this episode was, of course, Spain, with the deal Rogers made with them, them invading. It really, sent the island into chaos. There was also some interesting stuff with Billy and Silver in this episode, with Billy laying there, and Silver tries to give him sort of like a way out or a way to sort of, get back to where they were. And that's if he promised, not to be so hell-bent and, lash out at Flint with his own vendetta and such. And Silver acknowledges that he knows what Flint is. He knows his tendencies and his bad qualities. Flint. If you guys watch my Black Sails videos, I'm a big supporter of Captain Flint, and I still very much am. I love Flint. I think he's a genius, and I've always been behind him. But at the same time, I recognize that he's a very flawed, sort of anti-hero, lead character. And of course, Silver doesn't think of him as a character, but, Silver recognizes his flaws as well, but still very much sees him as a friend. And despite the flaws Silver recognizes, he respects Flint for not making him choose between him and Billy, sort of like what Billy did. So I like that. And Silver gave Billy a way out here, saying, okay, we can just, you can build yourself back up from this, basically. And Billy just basically throws that back in his face, just saying while he's still on the ground that, Silver chose, and, that's pretty much it. So I thought that was pretty interesting, too. It's interesting, Billy's, transformation, because ever since season 1, he's come off the moral. If there is a morally correct character on the show, he's always come off closer to it than a lot of them. But this past season, some of his decisions have been a little bit short-sighted, or perhaps driven by his grudge against Flint. And so I'm kind of surprised that that's where the character's mindset went. But I think it does make sense nonetheless. But it's just interesting how he progressed from one end to the other. And I really want to talk about the final part, but I'm just trying to remember if there is anything else specific. But of course, Maddi and Eleanor were traveling with Flint, as well as a few of the guards. And I actually liked Flint and Eleanor's last couple scenes together. We get sort of like a tie back to season 1 where, Flint reminds her that she was sort of a pirate herself at one point. And it seems to sort of, it makes Eleanor flicker a little bit, that she doesn't completely, she's not completely happy with herself completely leaving their side of things, really. And it really makes you think back all the way to season 1 where Eleanor was, ruling Nassau in a way, and Flint was pretty much her most trusted ally. That seems like a pretty big leap from where we're at now. But I thought the dialogue between them was pretty interesting. However you felt about Eleanor, you can't deny that Hannah New has done a very fine job of portraying the character, I think. And this episode really showed it. I did not expect her to die. I figured if she was going to die, it would go down like the second to last or the very last episode. I wouldn't have even been surprised if she survived somehow, which I don't think people wanted, but when Flint, takes the others to go after the rest of the men, they leave them at this house. And I was also very surprised by Maddi's death, and what that did to Silver. Luke Arnold did a very good job showing his emotion, when Flint, sort of silently told him what happened, initially. They kill quite a few of the guys out front, but one of them survives and gets into the house, and I didn't catch exactly what he did to Maddi, but it looked like he just slammed her on the ground, and she might have hit her head either on the table or on the floor really hard, perhaps. I don't know, or maybe he just hit her, and I don't know. But either way, that was pretty surprising. We get a pretty good, sort of brutal fight between her and the guy. Eleanor actually gets cut by this knife, and she tries to use a sword, but of course she's not, as skilled as, definitely not as skilled as Flint, or any of the others. But she tries to hold her own, and she does manage to, crack a glass over the guy's head and, light him on fire, so there's that, but that cut sort of really wounds her, and she's sort of thrown around quite a bit as well. But I respected her stand here, and it looked like she tries to pull Maddi in, or, wake her up at least, but she can't. And with the way she is crawling around, she definitely couldn't drag or carry Maddi out or anything. Then when Flint comes back and he sees Eleanor laying there outside the burning house, it's kind of all set in stone there. Some people think that Maddi might still be alive or something. I don't know how she would have gotten out of that. Just in the nick of time herself, woken up and everything like that. But I think Maddi unfortunately is gone. I didn't expect Maddi to die. I think she probably could have survived as well. But in a way, maybe it sort of makes sense that Silver is on his way to becoming the Long John Silver legend. Very close now, but I feel like he's going to become even darker and more savage, because of this loss. So I think this might have been an instrumental part of, his development in a way, perhaps. Still surprised by it. And Eleanor, of course, asking Flint if it was Rogers, that, kind of carelessly sent him and everything, and Rogers, of course, finds Eleanor's body a little bit later, and of course, he is completely distraught over it. But at the same time, it was really Rogers' handling of this that got her killed. Just the recklessness of it, and he couldn't really control what he sent out. So it was really his fault. But like I said, I surprisingly I wasn't cheering when Eleanor died or when she got hit or anything. I felt for her a little bit, or I at least admired how she spent her last few moments anyway. Like I said, whether he liked, disliked, hated, or loved her, either way, Hannah New did a really good job, and I was surprised when it happened. And of course, Flint and Silver share some really good scenes over it. Flint, eventually tells me he did everything he could to make sure Maddi would be safe. He feels a lot of regret over, perhaps not doing more, maybe staying with him or something. But Silver does say, it wasn't his fault, so I was glad to hear him say that. And, Flint, puts his hand on his shoulder and everything, So I love the bond there so much. But yeah, really well acted by both Toby Stevens is amazing as always. Luke Arnold's really coming to his own as well. Great acting for him in this episode. Really like this episode. I'm gonna rate it a 9.2 out of 10. I liked it that much, and like I said, I think it's only a taste of the devastation we're gonna see in the last episode or two. Then we also had Max try to visit Bonnie in this episode, and Bonnie just essentially tells her to fuck off. But Max, claims she wants to make a stand against Rogers for what happened to Eleanor, what went on with Bonnie and everything. And they want to go to Eleanor's grandfather, so maybe to muster up more support from his end. I don't know. Maybe after finding out what happened to his granddaughter. But yeah, overall great episode, giving it a 9.2 out of 10. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.